Shalom. Kahalayimla Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rachakudash, double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you sons of Akim that's pushing this 100% truth without sincerity, faith, with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone, Miami Camp. I'm coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Lord willing, this video is edifying. Alright, just came across this clip of Andrew Tate, right? And he said something that was facts, just dealing with history. As the scriptures say, there's no new thing under the sun. The way classes change, and when I mean classes, I mean levels of status in society change and can make drastic changes during turbulent times, during times of war, and on the outcomes of war, right? You can have a group of people go from nothing to kings, or serving directly under the king in a generation, and then their seed are now the part of the elite. And that certainly can happen. That has happened in the past throughout different nations, and it's also in the scriptures, right? You can read about that. First person I'm thinking about is King David, who was a shepherd, right? His father wasn't on a high level man. When you read the scriptures, like a high level man, as other men you may read about in the scriptures, other Israelite men, but which Lord willing I could do another video on. But I did a research, and when you look up King David's net worth, it said at the time of his death he was worth 200 billion. That would be the equivalent to today. So he went from a shepherd to a multi-billionaire at the time of his death. And of course they was dealing with real substance: gold, silver, land, slaves. Okay. So I'm just gonna let this clip play, and then Lord willing get a couple scriptures, because this ultimately ties with the elect. All right. Basically, if you can get with the winning team, because every kingdom, as we know according to the scriptures, the Most High putteth down one that setteth up a number. That's Psalm 75. It's always with bloodshed. It's always with violence. And the Most High is in control of who rises and who falls. And if you're on the winning team, then you get a piece, you get a slice of the pie when the pie is cut. If you survive the turbulent transition. Okay, and that's getting ready to happen again. As it is written, Esau was the second Ezra 6. Damn, it's escaping me right now. Esau is the end and Jacob is the beginning, roughly paraphrasing. Jacob is the beginning of that which followeth. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it which followeth. Roughly paraphrasing. You brothers know what scripture I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm just gonna let the clip play.
I'm going to tell people how I came to my answer. I think the best way to predict the future is to study history. I believe in times of old. Let's go back the last 3,000 years. If you were a king your life was pretty good. Or it was as good as life could be. To be a king, you had power, influence, money. That's what you had, and you were a king, and you lived a good version of life. If you weren't a king, you were an average man, a common man. And I think the world is cyclical. When you were a common man 2,000 years ago, you were effectively a slave, and life was terrible. And then that was the same all the way up to perhaps the 1930s, 1940s. Being a common man was pretty terrible. And perhaps it was the war and the massive loss of life. Perhaps it was something else, I'm not sure. But I kind of feel like there was a golden period between in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, maybe even the 90s, where being a normal, hardworking man, because life is cyclical, went from being a terrible existence to quite a good existence. In the 60s, you could be a normal man who worked in a factory, an unskilled labor job, and with one wage, you could afford a house, you could afford a car, you could afford to raise a family, your children would not be taught garbage of life. If you weren't a king, you...
Alright, so like, I had to skip it. But check this out.
It's going to permanently close. In olden times, let me think about this thought, because in olden times, the chance of turning into anything more than a peasant when you were born a peasant was effectively zero, unless there was chaos, unless there was a war or some great catastrophe which allowed social mobility for you to go to war, win, get a knighthood for bravery, get some land, and change your social mobility class. But there had to be war and chaos for you to escape, because without the chaos, it's kind of like a prison break. When all the rules are being adhered to and the prison is operating as it should, you're stuck in your cell. But if there's a prison riot, you have a chance to escape, which means uncertainty and chaos are required for the difference in social mobility. And that's always been the case. But now I feel like with it.
All right. And what he said was on point. Okay. It's true. He said, if you in the olden time, in the ancient world, if you were born a peasant, basically you stuck. That's your life until certain periods of life where the Lord was changing the ruling class. Okay, which let's get this scripture to back up what I'm saying. All right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Okay, so that's a scripture right there showing you that the Lord translates the kingdom from one people to another, meaning you have one group of people that are in rulership, and after a certain period of time of them going off, which it says riches got by deceit. So let's take America for example. How was America established? Was it not by unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit? Was it not from the genocide of one people and the enslavement of another? The stealing of lands, the stealing of resources, and that's just in America. But the same people that are responsible for the atrocities committed in America in the name of establishing the so-called United States of America, that same nation of people are responsible for several genocides throughout the world in the name of other nations, okay? The colonizers throughout Africa, throughout Asia. Okay? So the Lord is getting ready to change the order. Okay? What's this? Is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 And verse 3, better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king. That poor and wise child is Jacob. And that old foolish king is Esau. He's old because he's played out. He had his time. He's been in his authority. He's been in his rulership. And he's waxing old, meaning his rulership is getting ready to perish. Okay? Jacob is on the rise. Jacob is waxing strong. And that starts with the elect. Alright? Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign. Right? Andrew Tate made the analogy with the prison break. You see that? That's exactly what's happening with the elect of the nation of Israel. We are in prison. The captive exile hasten to be loosed, roughly paraphrasing. We are prisoners of hope. We're not to the level of physically being slaves like we were a couple of decades ago, but spiritually our people are still held in captivity, psychologically, right? And it's still physical because we're subject to payments. But there's getting ready to be a prison riot, aka Jacob's Trouble, aka all hell breaking loose throughout the 50 states of America. Martial law being declared, civil war taking off. Right? Different false flags, high level false flags being done in this place by you know who. And you got the other nations gonna be, doing their thing too, cause that border is wide open. Right? I was just before this video, I was just thinking about that guy, a couple months ago, that supposedly, I think he said he was an Amalekite. But he was something, one of those so-called Arab or something, and he had the video. Somebody had him recorded coming through the border. And they was questioning him. I forgot what they was asking him. And he was like, you will see. Don't worry. You're going to see what I'm doing here. And then it came out that he was a high-level arms dealer over there in the East. With different connections with different terrorist organizations. So America is in for a whole world of trouble, man. And on top of that is going to be an economic collapse. Esau is trying to change up this whole monetary system and roll in a new one, which in his mind, he wants to make it the super elite and everybody else super slaves. And he thinks that through this technology that he has, he's going to be able to enforce this system forever, effectively having an eternal kingdom in the earth. That's his dream. That's the hope of the vain, the hope of the fools. Okay. And the Lord Yahweh is going to send his son Yahweh to thrash all that. Okay. To just totally kill Esau's dreams and establish the kingdom of heaven, which was going to be an eternal kingdom. And the upper class of this kingdom, of this nation, is already predetermined, but it's being manifested in the earth right now. Okay, and it begins with, of course, the 144,000, and those men, some of those men are on the earth today, and they are preaching and teaching in the name of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. They're preaching the 100% truth, and if the, they will stick to that truth and endure to the end. And as the Lord told Peter, ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son sitteth on his throne and coming back in his glory, roughly paraphrasing, ye also shall sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So that's literally men coming from low level, coming from slaves, coming from peasants, because we're peasants in this society. Even if you got, doing better than the average Jake, if you a Jake, you still a peasant in this society. Okay? Really, if you're not of the elites, you're a peasant in this society. Right? So you going, the elect started with 144,000, and of course it's going to be rank and file in the kingdom. All of our people are going to be of the winning class, but amongst our people is going to be an order. Okay, so the turbulent times that's coming is going to leave a lot of people are going to be put to death. A lot of people are going to die in a shameful manner. A lot of our people, so they're not gonna make it to be saved. That's the salvation. When the Lord coming back, you actually ruling with him, reigning with him, like it says in Revelation 2. Let me just get that. Oh, I could close on that. This is Revelation chapter 2 and 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. You see that? That's an establishing of a new authority in the earth, and this is going to be permanent. Okay. So Lord willing, we're of that number. Lord willing, we keep pushing so that we can actually be a part of this. That's the dream. That's the hope. That's the expectation. That's the faith. Okay. So that's just something I wanted to speak on real quick, Lord willing. Was edifying with that. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rachakodash. Right? Oh, well, I didn't finish the scripture. Let me just finish off with this. Ecclesiastes 4:14. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. Right? So Esau is going to become poor. He's going into slavery. If I didn't say that, right? The so-called white man, starting with his elites, are going into captivity for 1,000 years, and after that, they're going to be eradicated. All right, so with that, shalom.